G'day, welcome to episode 3 of That's right, the shittest show on YouTube. Now to cap things off with shit questions. These questions aren't that shit really. What I'm worried about is they're not that interesting to watch because they're not like, what's your favorite monkey and do you wipe your ass if you're sitting down or standing up? These are kind of more music industry. I know you're probably wondering what the fuck is in that drink. I actually am not too sure myself. It's something I found in the cupboard. Can you make money playing in a band like yours? How much money you can make, I think, is really correlated to what you're prepared to do and where you live. Now, the fact that I'm in Australia and the 12 Foot Ninja, all the guys are in Australia. Australia is an island and it's a long way away from Europe and America. So it costs 20K at least to leave Australia and go anywhere. So that's bringing our crew and freighting gear, airfares, insurance, whatever else, visas. Based on that, you can see how you would lose your ass if you sort of hastily jumped into that. So it's got to be sort of like, you got to get to that point, which is bloody hard. How you make money, you need to pretty much live on the road, like for a long time. So now that would be cool if you were 20 and had no responsibilities, you didn't have a mortgage, you didn't have a child, you didn't have a wife or a husband or whatever, and that's where you could go, yeah, I could do that. But it gets really hard. You have to make you either make a full-on sacrifice where you, little boy blue and the man on the moon, when you're coming home, son, don't know when, that shit, Cats in the Cradle, or you go, fuck it, For me, I don't want to be an absent father. Like, I've just got a kid who's almost 1 year old. Like, I don't want to miss anything. I think I would resent touring if I was missing aspects of his life. Although I love performing in front of a crowd who digs the music, if you do that every night for 2 months, you start to go into a different reality. Like you actually lose touch. You become this kind of cave person whose primary motivations are like, what am I gonna eat? Where can I shit? Is there a shower? Load in, sound check, performance, shots, beers, load out, talk to fans, try and have a shower, get on the tour bus, sleep, and then you get up and you do it again, and you do it every night. So you really start, days lose their definition. Like you just become something else. So it's really difficult. So having that and then being a present father and a responsible person, it can be a bit contradictory. It can be a bit of a challenge. Now, if you make enough money, you can bring your family with you and you can have some level of normalcy, and you don't have to drink alcohol and do shots and do all that sort of shit. Then yeah, that could be more functional. But it's kind of like, I explain it, it's like when you grow your hair long. When you grow your hair long, there's a point where your hair is short and a point where your hair is long. And in between, you look like a dick. As in, if you were walking and the sun was shining on your back and you saw your shadow on the ground, you'd be like, is that a dick? Because it's this stupid length. You're like a medieval fucking, dungeon keeper or something. You look like He-man. That in-between phase is kind of like hard to handle. And it goes for a long time with bands, and sometimes they never grow their hair long. And they always end up just looking like a bunch of dicks with the sun on their back, How about I throw that out there, stick that on your toast and fucking taste it, let it percolate for a while, hit me back with more questions, because honestly, it's such a massive topic and I find it hard to kind of stick to any kind of chronological or linear structure to what I'm saying because there's so many variables. I think that's a segue for a new segment called Back to Shit. If I was to go back to my 10-year-old self, I would say get a very good guitar teacher, get a singing teacher, learn music theory. There are two schools of thought. One is if you've got a plan B, you're not really committed to plan A. I tend to think that's a little foolish. I think it's important to have a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. Unless you want to corner yourself into a very narrow aisle, like one of those escalators at the airport that just travels like that. And it's basically the destination is sunk cost logical fallacy, as in you build a program in your brain that locks you into your path stubbornly because you've already invested this and this. These things are on the line, and then those things are used as rationalization to just keep going. And there's some sort of romantic idea about just fucking hammering down the tunnel and not looking back. Like it's kind of, you know, but maybe the smart thing is to quit, is to actually abandon it. One of the things that I would tell my students at university, which was probably unpopular with the administration, is that it's okay to dip your toe in the water and then go, actually, you know what? I've got enough information now. This is not for me. That's actually a wise decision. Like it's okay to go, you know, that thing that I'm doing is not yielding anything positive for me, or I've gone, okay, now I know what is required to do that. I don't think I've got what it takes. I don't think I'm prepared to do that. I'm going to keep searching. Obviously, there's a fine line between being this vagrant person that jumps from one thing to the next and not sticking to anything long enough for it to yield any results. That's dumb. But I think it's also dumb to pursue something with a mindless determination when really maybe the best thing to do would be to not do that. Like to actually go, hang on, what the fuck am I doing? Maybe I do need a plan B. I guess I'd say to 10-year-old me, get into computer programming. You know, I wish the ideas that I've got, an idea is only as valuable as your ability to execute that idea. Otherwise, it's fucking bubbles just floating out into space. It means nothing. Now, I'm saying this from the point of view of someone who left school in year 12 to teach guitar at another school, because I already knew I was going to be a guitar player. There have been so many serendipitous things. And serendipity, I don't mean magic serendipity where it's like, wow, that if I just, you know, hadn't have been there at that particular time. I'm not sure if I believe in free will or destiny. You know, there's been multiple times I've taken a drink out of this, and I'm not sure that I thought I'm going to take a drink out of this. I just did it. So, you know, where's that coming from? I guess that's where you go into an existential wormhole and lay in a fetal position and just, you know, stare at the wall. I believe that luck, which I guess is, you know, an interesting idea because people say you got to be in the right place at the right time and all that sort of shit. Now, you do have to be in the right place at the right time, but that's not quite the full picture. Luck is opportunity, which is being in the right place at the right time, meeting preparation. So luck is opportunity meeting preparation. That means that you can really only be lucky if you're prepared. Otherwise, there are opportunities just flying past all the time. But if you're not prepared, how can you seize an opportunity? I think you've got to kind of really think about how that works. So I guess preparation becomes more important than luck. And what preparation looks like is to 10-year-old me. And maybe I'll go forward to probably go to 15 or 16-year-old me. So a rant I would often find myself going on to students, I guess would relate to me talking to 15-year-old me. And that I would say, you can't cut corners. Sure, you can find an example of someone who's cut a corner, but you can also find an example of someone with fucking 4 dicks. Like, it's an exception to the rule. It doesn't actually mean that you go, well, because they've got 4 dicks, you know, maybe I could. No, you know, probably not. You can't just will 4 dicks to happen. There are no cutting corners. Going back to my original point about defining success, the goal defines the process. That's another thing I say a lot. Once you can define success, you can then trace the trajectory to reach that point backwards. That then becomes your process. It's like a runway lighting up for an aircraft to land. One thing I see all the time, as you know, when I was teaching, is that a lot of people have an idea of success, and then they have, it basically is an intention versus a goal. It's like saying, yeah, I want to get fit. I'd like to get fit. That's an intention. I'd like to get fit. Versus, I'm going to run for 3 kilometers every day. That's a goal. I'm going to do that. It's definitive. I can measure it. A lot of people confuse their lofty sort of ambiguous goal ideas of success, and they don't connect up their processes. And then there's a lot of cognitive dissonance. There's a lot of stories that people tell themselves about why they shouldn't learn theory. I don't want to learn theory because it'll somehow make what is magical and pure clinical and calculated. Whereas I would say that's fucking bullshit. And then they would say, well, what about Kurt Cobain and Jimi Hendrix? And I'd be like, well, 2 people that you've named. And then, you know, maybe they'd find a handful of self-taught musicians, but the equation doesn't make sense. You can't go, well, Kurt Cobain didn't know what he was doing, so therefore I could be like Kurt Cobain by not knowing what I'm doing. It's a faulty argument if you found yourself going, well, I'm gonna justify not putting in the background work because so-and-so didn't. All you have to go is, how's that working out for you? That's it. What you're witnessing now is kind of like an artifact from many years of frustration talking to students who basically want to avoid doing work. They want to jump. They've been sold a romantic vision of the music industry somewhere, like whether it's the media or, you know, I guess maybe the kind of false idol worship. Talent isn't part of the equation for fame and success. You can be talented by having a great ass or a 6-pack, and you might be as dumb as a fucking bag of hammers. You know, whack your ass up on Instagram and off you go. Like, fuck, it blows me away that they're worshipped to the level that they are. And I think that's fed into this YouTube thing. That's why I'm kind of, you know, when I started this channel, I'm kind of taking the piss at the format, going, I wonder if I could do that. Because I watch some of these YouTube videos and go, this is fucking shit. I can be as shit as this. I never knew that there were YouTubers, like people that are like, hi guys, so today I've got this glass and it's made by S&P and it's like really cool, and thanks for subscribing. Without you, like, I would just be like, you know, and it's like this fucking trope. Everyone says the same shit. And I was watching it going, you know, I couldn't handle it. But then I had this weird thought, like, why don't you do that? I don't know. Maybe I'm cynical. Maybe that, whatever I just drank, just fucking turned me into some sort of nihilistic. I just got negative. Did you feel that? I just went down a bit of a dark path. So I don't know, maybe it's a perfect time for a
fatality.
It's that time for the segment that I like to call Mr. Shit Squiggle. Alright, so I'm looking at this one by J Sides. Start you off with an easy one. Alright. Yeah, alright, I reckon that's it. The Shit Godzilla. The Shit Godzilla. For this week's segment of Shit impression. I sent Ro, old mate Ro, guitarist, 12-foot ninja, a video of this amazing singer, Dimash Kudaibergenov. Dimash Kudaibergenov. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be watching this. And Ro's response was,
man, I would love to hear you have a fair income crack at that in your next Shitshow ep.
So here we fucking go. Let's have a battle. Let's have a sing off. Yeah, this is definitely going to be worthwhile.
I see